I haven't been entirely forthcoming with y'all about the influences I've had for this game, and I apologize for that. One big influence I've had for this game is a song that my dad's band wrote back in the late 90s. It was called Bobcat, and his band was called Noisepie. This song scared the crap out of me as a child, so I decided to harness that fear and use it as an influence for how I make Pug. And I decided to base the soundtrack of the game around that song for the most part. And I'm probably going to sneak the song into the game proper, but we're going to have to see for that. Here's a snippet from the original song. Bobcat, Bobcat. And here's an early version of the main menu theme, Swag. It's been a minute since I made my last video, and we are back once again with a bunch of updates for Pug. I've got a crap ton of work done for this game since the last video. I started making music, like you just saw, but I've also started doing bug fixes, adding new features, doing 3D, getting a sinus infection, finishing my semester, and playing video games. Honestly, I'll say the biggest thing to take note of at this point is that I'm finally on summer break, and that means it's really grind time. I'm trying to get this game out by the end of summer, which I don't know if that's gonna happen, but hey, setting goals is always a good thing, ain't it? Also, I'll probably have playtest ready in the next little bit here. It just depends on how fast I can crank out the video and how much attention our next little game jam is gonna need. Hopefully not too much, but I'm sure it's gonna need a lot. So, grab yourself a snack and a glass of orange juice, and try not to reach through the screen because here we go!
Hi, ich bin's Michel und ich bin Sven und wir zeigen euch heute unseren ultimativen Trick.
Hey guys, it's me, Buster Digital. I make video games, I'm the video game god. Thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. Make sure you sign up and join my Patreon because gold tier members or more get to see the live surgery of me getting a BDL. And also make sure that you subscribe to the channel and give me channel membership. If you give me channel membership, I'll come give you a car. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Please, 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 please. Thank you so much to my sponsors.
So, fair warning, not reading these verbatim. Maybe I'll post them online if you want to read them as they were written. April 30th, 2025. I started up mapping. I did this by whiteboxing with Godot's CSG nodes. The map itself is an octagon because the Pug's stupid, and I figured it would help him find out where to go easier. I started dividing the map up into sections, and I decided that the game was going to be set in a doggy daycare in what's like a gully or an entrance to a canyon. And I'm basing this all on my experience of having worked at a doggy daycare. It wasn't in a gully, though. It was just normal. But I added a lookout point because you're not going to get a handheld map. But I'm not going to lie, it doesn't really help that much, so I might get rid of it, but it does look cool. In the map, there's going to be a couple of interiors and buildings that you can enter, but I'm going to try and limit how many there are so you have less options to like camp the Pug. And I'm also trying to avoid having situations that would trap and kill you, because that's allegedly not that fun. I don't know, though. It seems pretty fun to me. Anyways, I'm not done with the white boxing today. I need to add some more play areas for the dogs and also add the actual forest itself, but I think that this setup is pretty good so far. Here's the one tutorial I used. May 1st, 2025. Well, I did a whole lot today. I'm not finished with the early level design, but things are moving along pretty smoothly. I added trees to the level, and they're randomized pretty well. I also added a few more POIs, or points of interest, for the uneducated of you. I made the lookout quite a bit higher up, and I also added some colored poles, so you can more easily see where the POIs are, but they're probably not going to make it into the final game. Maybe I'll make them flags. Here is the tutorial I followed today. May 9th, 2025. So the phone model has been finished for a while now. It's textured, animated, and all that. That being said, I didn't do anything right, at least to get it into Godot. So, whoopsies. The node setup I had for the shaders was wrong, and I was not understanding how to get stuff like vertex coloring in for the lighting. Once again, whoopsies. But I got it all figured out. Then, the animations I made didn't work at all. Turns out you need to rig these things. Whoopsies once more. This was getting super annoying to deal with, and what I ended up doing was this super janky method of adding in rigging, then baking the animations to said rigging, which ended up working, but it took a whole lot of finagling. But like the phone works now, right? Wrong. Final issue I had was that the phone and gun, honestly, were both clipping into things. So I tried using a shader in Godot to fix that, but the model was made of multiple pieces, which made things super janky. I ended up following a tutorial to figure it out and decided on using a sub-viewport setup because the phone was in multiple pieces. I really didn't want to figure out everything myself because I was already so tired. Also, I added a light to the phone's screen so you could actually see what was on the screen. Here's the tutorial I followed for today. May 10th, 2025. So, the viewport for the screen on the phone model was really broken. Like, broken. It literally showed me a source engine missing texture purple and black checkerboard, like Gary's mod. I worked on fixing this all day, like literally all day, and I think the issue was that it was using a texture as a Mesh 3D node, and it really didn't like that. Plus, I was doing some parentage and inheriting scenes between multiple menus, and it just got real ugly real fast. So I ended up playing around with it for like at least 6 hours, and I got it to work, and honestly, I don't know how. I switched things around and made the menu appear on a Sprite 3D using a viewport texture, and it worked. May 11th, 2025. Today was simple, but I did a good amount of work. Basically, I cleaned up the phone and its animations, I made a state machine that really smoothly does all the animations I needed, and hopefully this should make adding anything to the phone in the future quite a bit easier. May 13th, 2025. Today was one of those days where, looking at it now, I definitely got a lot of important things done. But while I was doing it, I felt like I was making no progress at all. I pretty much just fixed a ton of bugs that popped up out of nowhere. So what happened was, every time I tried to shoot the pug, if I missed it, the game would crap the bed and crash. This is because it was hitting things that may have had colliders with no names, or it would just hit the sky. This is a bug I thought I fixed forever ago, but you know what? It came back to haunt me. I ended up fixing it by putting an if statement in the code that would check to see if the name of the collider was null, and if it was, just to ignore it. Also, when I updated to Godot 4.4, the bullet holes stopped working correctly, and they would all be facing sideways. I fixed this, and TBH honest, I have no clue how I did it. But thank you, Internet. The issue had to do with collinear vectors or something. One bug that was really pissing me off was that whenever you would hip-fire the gun with the phone out, the menu buttons would lose focus. This has probably been an issue for a lot longer than I realized too, because when I used version control to see what it was like before, it was still there. Anyways, I fixed it up by making a system to log what the last focused button was, and then instantly refocus it if the menu is left open. It worked pretty well, but it might not be the best way to do things. With that, I decided to implement a new feature. So now the phone will stay on the same button you had focused when you close and open it, which is not useful at all right now, but in the future, I'm certain it will be. May 14th, 2025. So today I worked on making object interactions in the game because a lanky faceless man in a suit came to me in the night and he said, "Collect my pages." So I decided to put that in the game. One issue was the fact that the button for picking up items and the buttons to shoot were both the same button, so you'd pick it up and then shoot the gun immediately. That's not how we practice trigger discipline, so I decided to change that. Now, when you can interact with something, the gun is going to visibly lower and a hand icon will pop up on the screen. This means you can interact with the item and also not instantly jib it. Once you pick up the item or look away, you can shoot your gun again. Of course, this nearly immediately caused a new problem, because the second you looked away from anything, the gun would instantly reload, which was super annoying. I ended up fixing it so the gun wouldn't be ready to shoot until it's genuinely been reloaded. Here is a tutorial that I followed for today. May 22nd, 2025. Okay, here's how I made the menus. I drew out the icons pretty early on, and then I made them in Illustrator. Getting it all to look right took a little while because I really wanted to have that Windows Vista and Frutiger Aero look to them. And I'm pretty confident that I did that. So that's pretty cool. After I finished the icons in Illustrator, I took them into Photoshop because I wanted bevels on them so they'd look a little more 3D. Then I went into Blender and started making spheres for them to be on because I wanted to go for something that was similar to the PS Vita home screen. And I think I got something pretty adjacent at least. Then I had to animate it all, and honestly, I went a little crazy on that. Like making lighting change for each sphere as it went further back. I made it this interesting radial menu, which I kind of based around the Silent Hill 2 menus, which maybe no one else is going to get it when they look at it, but I get it. Honestly, it turned out exactly like I'd hoped. My only issue is the fact that I just started rendering it out on my laptop, and now it seems like this is going to take at least 5 days to render. Whoopsies. I mean, it's not the end of the world because I have a desktop that's a good bit more powerful than this, so I'll just run it on that instead. Here are the many tutorials I followed for today.
Pug. It's about as ugly as one. No, but seriously, what were they thinking? Making a Slender clone in 2025? The guy who made this shit. More like butt, because this game is ass. I'd rather go through my BBL surgery from last August than go through this absolute slog again. Talking about this game makes me mad. I gotta calm down. But without further ado, folks, I'm the Dapper Gamer, and this is the Dapper Gamer Picture Review Show. Enjoy the show, folks.
Alright, I'm not gonna lie. Some stuff has changed, but I'm still working on this. But let me give you the rundown on what's in store. First of all, I need to finish the menus in the phone. That's my main priority and struggle right now. After the menus are done, I'm going to start playtesting. You, yes you, might be able to do some of that. My only requirements being that I will only accept smart gamers. And you might have to fill out a little form. I don't know. After that, I need to really work on the visuals for the game and the main menus and the like. I want to make them sick. The game still needs a ton of work done for the audio, so that's going to be a lot of work, but I can get it done. Honestly, I'm very excited about all of this, especially because I have a lot more free time to finish this game now. Also, keep an eye out for Tribop. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's talk backstory, though. So the game is about stagnancy, like I said last time. The quick plot that I'll give you is that at this doggy daycare, the pug was somehow created and it got out and went on a rampage, killing all of the dogs there and some of the employees. They needed someone to come deal with the pug, so they call you in, John Pug. This character is based on the classic wandering cowboy archetype, or the man with no name, who comes into town, solves a big problem, and leaves before anyone can thank him. Now, just to be clear, there's going to be a lot more happening in this story. I actually have most of it already written. However, you're not going to get to learn that until the game comes out, buddy.
Hello, everybody! My name is Markiplier, and welcome to Pug. Pug is a game by Buffo Digital, who is a very famous and cool developer that everyone likes a lot. I've actually played every game he has made on my channel too, trust me. Anyways, I wanted to say give Buffo a lot of money because he is epic and needs to stack some paper in order to afford his upcoming BBL surgery. Thank you. Markiplier out.